Folks, this is Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word. I teach and preach mainly out of the Bible, but I have stacks of material from the years gone by that I've got from different places that other people wrote. I'm supposing that this lady right here put this piece in this magazine in 1982 would not be offended by somebody reading it over the public airways. One of the best articles I've read, and I'm a man that has sent 6 children out, some to college, some out and just trained them to work and sent them out to work, and have had to remove the feeling, wow, man, they're leaving the house. They're fixing to go and stay in an apartment or rent a place or build a house, or they're going to be gone from the nest. What do I do? How do I stay in contact? And this is a mama's worry too. What do I do to stay in their life yet out of their life? This lady writes a piece. She said, "My friend, my son. This is the most important thing. I have 6 children that are all my friends. Every one of them are my friends. I visit them as friends. I knock on their door at their house. I don't just walk in. And I come in as a father, but also as a friend. Their mother comes in as a mother, but as a friend. We have remained a friendly family. We get together and have things happen at the house. We play as friends. We play. My boy comes down. We play chess as friend to friend, even though we're son and father." And so this Marion Duckworth, her name is, and she put this piece in the Broadcaster in 1982. And she said, "I cried when my son left for college, even though school was only 35 miles away, and he would be coming home on a weekend." So he's not going too far, and he's coming home on the weekend. We still got to figure out how to let our children grow up. That's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So I cried not only because I would miss him, but because I knew that from now on our relationship would be different. And it is. When your child gets out of the house, your relationship is different. From a parent-dependent child relationship, wear your warm coat today. In other words, saying, "Son, it's cool out there, put your warm coat on." Now this son is going to college, and after he's in college for a month or two, and it is a cool day out, should you say, "Son, put your warm coat on"? It would probably be better if you didn't. And allow him and watch him as he grows, and he takes the experience you told him before and uses it without you reiterating it. Sooner or later, our sons and daughters are going to assume adult roles and go to college and come home for vacations, live in apartments, and come home for an occasional meal, or live at home but support themselves with a full-time job. They seem to be guests in your own home. And that's true, and you need to treat them that way. There comes a time when you don't treat a 19-year-old son like you would a 9-year-old son. If you want to offend your son, who is now 19 or so, you treat him like he's 9. And you will offend him, and you will cause yourself and your son problems. It said often exhibit a foreign restlessness. We flounder, wondering just what role we are to play in the lives of our adult son and daughters of ours. We vacillate between trying to protect them and realizing that we can no longer do so. Man, it's a mind battle. It's a heart battle. Been through it 6 times. I know how the battle works. They frustrate us beyond words and worry us into insomnia because we can't control their lives the way we once did. Letting go. It's called letting go. Can you let go of that adult child? He's now becoming an adult. We alternate between grumbling over their annex and starting with pride over their strutting with pride over their successes. Months pass, months when they seem to be moving more and more into their world, and we into ours. One day, when they dash through the front door on their way out of our lives again, we realize what kind of relationship it is that we want to have with them. Friends. That's what we want. That's it. Parent friends. We whisper to ourselves. A close relationship based on a mutual respect. You know, this is what we have for our other friends that aren't blood kin. And we don't try to direct their lives. We see things that would help them maybe, but we don't try to direct their lives. And we cannot direct our older children's lives. We had that opportunity from the age of 1 to 19. We had the opportunity to do that directing. How can we stay friends after they've grown up? Respect their adulthood. From children who had an account for their own actions. I want to stop right there for a second and tell you, I respect all of my children, and I tell them often, hey, I respect you, son. I appreciate how you've turned out. Man, I appreciate your business, what you do, and how you run it. I wish that I had been as intelligent in the business when I was growing up as you are in your business now. And I have boys that are much more intelligent in their business than I was. And they've learned how to use their money and whatever. And they've got families, and they've got bills, and they've got children now. It says respect their adulthood. From children who account for their actions, or sons and daughters who have become adults, responsible for their own actions. For the next few years, they'll be exploring the four walls of their freedom, learning to grow into new roles, just as they once had to grow into new clothes. By the way, I'm probably speaking to many, many people who still have children, who are still young, who are still going to get out and learn how to fly. Since they'll need room in which to do the growing, privacy may become the fetish even more. I've been a paint contractor now for 50, 60 years. And in that period of time, I painted many houses that were still occupied. And I've been able to observe many families who had children that were in their room and the door was shut. And they didn't want mama knocking on the door, and they didn't want daddy knocking on the door. They wanted their privacy, which didn't used to be a real bad problem. Nowadays, it is more of a problem than that. It's important to them than it was when they were in high school. Our question may be interpreted as praying. What we need to do is just pray. While they're in their room, they're doing what God would have them do. We parents need to understand that they aren't trying to shut us out of their lives because they no longer love us. They are simply needing to step away from the family unit from which they're identified and has come to establish their own separate identities. This is very important for every human being to have his or her own separate identity. And that's the important thing. And we must look at this. Confidence is what they're looking for. Confidence in their own person, who are growing till they become more open with us. In the meantime, we can express interest in their lives, accepting their silent periods with good humor. Try to think of something with a little humor in it, or say, well, did you fall asleep in there? Well, did you have a good time? Well, did you get engrossed in your studies? Well, good to see you again. A little bit of humor. All right. Be a consultant. Our roles have changed. No longer absolute authority. We're no longer now that absolute authority. They've got to the place where they want to have their own authority. And they still respect you if you do it properly. And that is the thing. We must step into a role of parental advisors. Yes, we're still their parents, but we must advise carefully. We must not put on them what we did. Oh, hey, I did it this way. There is a time when that's useful, but most of the time that's not a useful statement. Yeah, I know, Dad. Yes, I know, Dad. You're old-fashioned. I know how you did it back in the buggy days, and you hooked the two horses up, and you went out with the hay wagon. I know all them stories. But we're driving a motorcycle or a car, and we're doing something a little bit different than a two-horse wagon. And so we have to be careful of the advice we give. She said, one of my grown sons asked me to go shopping for clothes with him to make sure I get my money's worth. I know that I'm going along as a counselor. They received that right there from this lady. You are going along as a counselor, not as an advisor. He's going to look at what he looks at. She's going to look at what she looks at. If that's her desire and her like, or his desire and his like, you can counsel with them, but you are not the advisor. I would advise you. You don't know how they dress at that college. You don't know what their mind is looking at for their college stuff. But you could say, I believe that this shirt right here looks like it's $3 less than that shirt, and to me it looks like as good a shirt. It looks like it would be a $3 saving right there. You can be very constructive, very carefully, and not say, well, boy, oh boy, son, what do you think? Money grows on trees? You're going to spend $3 more for a shirt? No, you have to be careful, be constructive, and say, look, I really believe that this would be a better deal, and without going to poor quality. I say that pair of pants is a good buy at that price. Not how can you like such terrible styles. He's just picked a style of pants out that you absolutely do not like. But instead of knocking his style and saying that's a terrible style or such a terrible style, and don't buy that, you say it would be a stupid thing to do. I'm to provide reliable information that will help him decide which is the best buy, until he is able to support the skimpy seams and sleazy fabric for himself. And so that's the way that is. Hey, Ma, I'm on the YouTube. Please do not holler. Just go ahead and do whatever you got to do, okay? Thank you. All right, so here we are back. We're doing a little hospice care here, and so it's I've learned when we're discussing issues important to them to suggest instead of tell, and to ask questions that I hope will help them discover answers to their problem for themselves. How can I best show my love for them now that they're grown? Not by hanging on desperately the yesterday's personal role, but by adjusting to my new one. I demonstrate my love when I help them again. Confidence is their own ability to make decisions, once in according with their Christian life, style, and complement them when their choices are wise ones. Compliment them when their choices are wise ones. And that's where we're going to be stopping right now for the need of having to. And we got us a little 15-minute excerpt here. But that's the beginning of a very good piece. You might look that up, or look other pieces like that up on YouTube today. We have the YouTube at hand so that we can do that. Keep the door open is the end of the piece, though. Just keep the door open. Time to time they may want to come in. When our offsprings will need to come home for more than a meal or a visit. They may need a place to mend wounds or recoup losses. Whatever the need, let it keep the door open and be ready to do the things that would be most constructive for them, the things that real love would demand. These who once lay in our arms, crawled as toddlers at our feet, have gone on to grow and explore worlds outside our own. Now we parents of adults, sons and daughters, must learn to be in the trust, present sense of the word, their friends. See you next time.